All right, we're just past 7:30, so I think we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to everybody. Looks like the number of folks joining the attendees is slowing down a little bit. Good evening. Thank you for coming to the annual kickoff meeting. If you have not already downloaded our leaders guide or opened up our leaders guide in Zoom in the resources area, there's a link to our leaders guide. It is also available and published on the camp website. You can share that with folks. We'll talk about the Q&A feature in a little bit. We'll go through, and I think, Danny, we ready to rock and roll?
I think so.
All right. So a
All right.
couple of
Well,
housekeeping
good evening.
items. We already mentioned the leaders guide. The other item we want to highlight is the unit information survey. About an hour ago, I sent an email out to all the units that are coming to camp this summer with some information just to really confirm the week of camp, but also looking for some information from everybody. There's a survey that we'd like you to take. It might take you 2, 3 minutes just to confirm your week of camp. Let us know about how many scouts are coming. Please don't overestimate the number of people that you think might be coming. This is not tied to your campsite that we might be assigning you. This is just really for planning purposes. We've got a number of new units that are still reaching out to us to come to camp this summer. And we also want to make sure that the week that you think you're coming is the week that we think you're coming. So please take a look for that. If you didn't receive that, you can email us info@camp.wanocksett.org. Jack, do you want to mention how we're going to do Q&A tonight?
All right, so tonight we have a special function of how we're gonna handle questions. Some of them we'll answer in chat. When you press the Q&A button at the bottom of your screens, you can either type out a question and we'll type back the answer to you, or we'll save some of them to be answered live
All right,
on
thanks,
air.
Jack.
And we'll do that several times throughout the presentation. We'll do some programs, some operations, food, the medical questions. We'll give plenty of opportunity to share those, because if you have the question, it typically means that at least 12 other people have the question.
Yep.
All right, well, welcome. For 102 years, there's been some type of kickoff meeting. One of the first meetings I was told was held at the Firemen's Hall in Leominster 98 years ago. And here we are in 2026, and we're getting ready for an incredible summer. We have 7 weeks of program. As of January 20th, we had sent out letters to a complete staff. 100% of the staff as of the 20th was on board. We have had an opening for part of the summer for a rifle director. So if you're 21 plus and you'd like to help us run the rifle range, there's several courses you need to take to be certified and qualified, but we are looking for a 21 plus rifle director. Maybe an opening in the kitchen for a junior staff member. But other than that, we are fully staffed, and we have a wait list of some staff members, and we're pretty excited. So I'm Dan Megan. I'm the camp director for the summer, and I got Andrew Collins here. You got the CIT director, Annie Souza, the program director, the chat master, Jack, you've already seen him, and our assistant program director, Ethan. So let's get started. So a few things about the summer. I just was emailing back and forth with the Ranger. He helped us secure, he helped buy the 2025 Nissan Frontier through a generous gift from the George McGee Trust, and we have taken possession of that as a council. And it has a nice shout out to George McGee and all of his help. We're going to be building a new rifle range. Chris Burgoyne and the Properties Committee has worked with the CEO of the council, and funding has been secured to build a new rifle range. That one has served us quite well, but it's time for it to come down and to be replaced in the same location. We're working on garage doors on Memorial Lodge. The mattresses were delivered last week. We're getting more tents, a new riding lawnmower for Ranger to keep the grass cut. And these are just operations. There's more program stuff coming later. Nick O'Connell, give us the update on program staff.
Yeah. I'm back. Ethan's back. We're both excited to be here again. We love Wanocksett to death, much like everybody else here, and we can't wait to be running it again. So we're here. There's a couple slides later on where you'll be introduced to some of our area directors. But for now, glad to see everyone here, and I can't wait to get the summer started.
I've seen that picture several times, but Ethan is holding up a CW. I just realized that. Very creative. Let's roll.
So yeah, for our daily schedule every day, nothing has changed. It's 7:45. We have colors in the main field. 8 a.m. we have breakfast, followed by a merit badge at 9 and 10 o'clock. Then 11 o'clock we have patrol time, which will go more in depth with patrol time for those who might not be familiar with it at a later slide. Then after that, we have lunch at 12:15. Then we have unit development time at 1 p.m. And this is a time for the unit to be in their campsite and to work on things like within the campsite or improve or do things like as a unit. Then we have our third merit badge at 2 p.m. And then 3 to 5:30 p.m. we have open program, which we'll talk about later on. And then we have closing colors or evening colors at 6 p.m., followed by dinner at 6:15. Then we have an hour from 7 to 8 of open program. And then every night at 8 p.m., we have a different evening program, which we can talk about later. But yeah.
All right, let's talk about the fun stuff that we put in for the 2026 season. We've got some more Chromebooks that we're bringing in to extend our STEM areas, make those robotics and programming and movie making merit badges more accessible to everybody. 4 new bikes of different sizes to keep people on our Kimball's bike ride and support some new merit badges we're getting in. We have new firearms. We got 2 new Mossberg 500 pump shotguns to replace some of the worn out Remingtons and some Savage 22s. We'll also be building spar racks in Brown Sea and Scoutcraft to keep the lashing spars off the ground. For both the firearms and the spar racks, I'd like to give a thank you to the Zorn family, who gave a generous donation for us, and more of my former staff members, Stephen Zorn. We'll also be picking up some more paddle boards for the waterfront to get more kids paddling out. In terms of some new programming we're adding 4 merit badges this year. It's a big jump. We're putting programming in with robotics in our STEM and ecology area. So that will end up being 2 badges in 2 hours across the week that they can get during that period. We're adding multi-sport merit badge to the athletics field. Multi-sport is some combination of the triathlon disciplines, either biking, swimming, or running. And we're going to be trying that one out this year. I'm very excited that we're adding some new badges for our Ranger division. The Rangers have been, the core of maintenance for camp for all of these years. And this year they're offering some more hands-on badges so we can have more of a vocational or a technical section. So we're going to be testing out plumbing merit badge and farm mechanics with the Rangers this year. We've also made some expansions to our adventure team to get some higher quality and higher level programming out, some things that we weren't able to offer in the past. We added an additional staff member who many of you would know, Nick Hoff. He will be helping us coordinate some extra offsite programs, and he's going to be an additional hand who's got a whole bunch of ideas for our older scouts to take part in.
Nick, when you talk about the 2 hours, that's 2 hours per day for those badges, right?
Right.
So it's 2 times 5, so 10 hours for those badges.
Yep.
Excellent. Nice addition.
Yeah, so here for the area directors, we have some new and some returning faces. We have Jensen Bushel as the Brown Sea director, Tom Johnson as our COPE director, Ray Cahill returning as one of our ecology directors. Hattie McBride, new staff, is going to be our climbing director. Charlie Maxwell will be our aquatics director. Robert Bryce will be our scoutcraft director again. Graham Wall will be the shotgun director, and Betsy Hoff is going to be the handicraft director.
So I'd like to talk about the program supplementals. So in the leader's guide at the very end, you'll see a couple links to extra forms that explain a little bit more about some of our additional programming. We've got one for first-year campers that tells you what our Brown Sea Adventure program is all about, and it gives a list of merit badges that are more appropriate for younger scouts to take on. And then we have another one that is geared towards our Wanocksett pioneers and our venturers. so they can see what sort of older scout programs we have to offer. I'd also like to talk about some ways that you folks can help support the program and spend your time during the week. There was a change made to the standards last year where we now, in addition to having our licensed driver, we need an adult spotter on the motorboats to make sure our waters are safe. That is, again, a requirement for this year. So if you want to ride out on the boat for an hour a day, especially during patrol time when your scouts are signed up for tubing, please feel free. It's a great way to spend an hour. I know that my dad did it for about 3 days last year and he loved it. So if you need some time on the Thorndike, you can do that. Our merit badges still have some guest speaker requirements. So things again like citizenship in the world, chemistry, game design, forestry. If you are an expert in your fields in those areas, feel free to work with the directors and find a time where you can come and speak to those merit badge classes. I'm very pleased that we can offer some out of camp field trips to complete badges like aviation and animal science. However, we do need your help getting scouts to those places. So afternoon programs, we need some drivers to get people out to wherever we might be for this year to finish those badges. We also need some additional program supervision. If you want to take some time, go on the Sunset Summit, make sure all our scouts stay together. Spot for the mile swim or swim during the mile swim if that's your thing. And monitor the corners of our triathlons to make sure our scouts are taking the right turns. And we still need those sorts of help. We'll have all sorts of adult leader service projects available for you, from building picnic tables to helping stain buildings or maintain other areas in camp. We will have a more detailed list of that during the adult leader meetings over the summer, but we will absolutely need your help putting some things together to help camp shine. All right. I wanted to take some time to answer something that is usually asked during these meetings, and I wanted to talk a little bit about patrol-centered programming. You might also hear us call it patrol time. So this is in the 11 a.m. to 12 a.m. block every single day. And it is a time for your scouts to go as a patrol to an area and participate in whatever activity is happening that day. Those activities change from day to day, and you can find them in a couple different locations. In the Sunday welcome packet that you all receive, there is the daily program grid. In the daily program grid, the patrol time activities for each day in each area are listed. I encourage you to share those activities with your patrol leaders during your patrol leader council meetings that you'll have at camp, so they have some idea of what they want to do the next day. Every single morning after our flag ceremony, the area directors will announce what's happening in the areas during that day. And at that time, we'll ask one representative from each patrol to stay behind so they can go to an area director and sign up. The way that we handle that is we have a list of all of the units in camp. We will call out the units by name, and the representatives from those units can go wherever they would like to go, and they can sign up for those areas. Some areas may fill up faster than others. We can only really take 24 people on the rifle range because it takes some time to run those lines. However, in order to accommodate that, we make sure that the units who are being selected towards the front of the line get rotated out day to day. So that's a little bit about patrol-centered programming and how that works. As in the past, if you're bringing a venture crew to camp, we're more than happy to work on you with your advancement and awards. Again, venturing, because it's so much more youth-based, if there are things that you want to tackle and awards you think that you can work towards at camp, have your crew presidents reach out. They can send the emails over to program or info@camp.wanocksett.org, and we're more than happy to structure some programming for your crews so they can finish or do some things up at camp they might not be able to do at home. And if you see something that we're offering in our program guides and the leader's guide that you think is cool, we'll do it. If you have some other ideas, something that you think we might be able to accomplish that's not necessarily listed out, please let us know. Like we're more than happy to work with all of the crews and see what we can get done. One thing I do want to point out is for many of the awards and the requirements, there is a final step that needs to be completed back home. So we can get you like 90 to 95% of the way there. They can take that one last step when they're back home, give the community presentations, and wrap it all up.
Ethan?
Nope. Yeah. So every day we will have a meeting after the meal or after lunch with our senior patrol leaders to because we like to kind of drive the fact that units are youth driven. So we will invite them to the boathouse every day after lunch, and we'll talk about what they need, like what needs the troop requires, or what they would like to see change. And then we give them a rundown of the schedule, and we tell them the activities that day and how, as older kids, they can help make the first or second year campers feel more included, and just yeah, general question and answer every day as well.
And I'd like to give you guys just a couple of policy reminders for things that have changed over the past that might be different from years. So firearms and bows in camp. We're no longer permitted in Scouting America to have personal firearms and bows and ammunition in camp. I know that we might have some people who are competitive shooters, or they might want to show off their cool following block Ithaca rifle. However, those are not allowed on camp property anymore. If you have personal firearms and bows, leave it at home. We can't take them. It is a safety thing. So we need to make sure that we're using all of our equipment, all the equipment for the firearms ranges and for the archery ranges supplied by us. We have it all. You don't need to pay for it. But leave your stuff at home. We've got you covered. And I'd like to reiterate the motorboats. There was a change last year made so that the motorboats require one licensed driver and one spotter. We would love some help from the adult leadership provided by the units to be those spotters on the motorboats to make sure our kids are safe in the water.
Before we get into the CIT program, let's maybe take a quick break for some questions. Jack, what do we have in the queue so far that's program related?
Yeah, so one question we had was, are Ranger programs open to all scouts or just Ranger scouts?
So the Ranger programming is merit badges that are open to everybody. You'll see plumbing, that's going to be a third period merit badge. Then farm mechanics will be a bonus badge that takes place over the afternoons over the course of the week. All scouts are free to attend those badges.
Another question we had, any special activities on July 4th, given this is the 250th anniversary of the country?
Absolutely.
I remember right, July 4th is a Saturday, but that doesn't mean we can't do stuff before that.
Hold on, is that?
I have one kitchen related question. Is there a direct email to kitchen so we can coordinate needs?
As we get closer to camp, we'll work on that. The food service comes on board mid-June. So we hire them and they're working with us, but they're not working for us really until mid-June, but we can work on that.
Question about payments. Early bird rate registration is no longer May 1st, now April 15th, question mark.
Great question, Jack. Not program. We're going to get to it in a little bit. I will go out of order because I saw two in the chat about changing stations. That was something last year. We made some changes to the current ones, but we also are committed to building new ones. Very similar to the ones at Treasure Valley. Brand new. The Ranger McLaughlin has the specs, and Ranger Paul Megan will be working on those, and we'll have some new changing stations, and we'll make some changes to the old one to see what we can do to keep those so we don't lose those three.
Those are all of our program questions. We do have a few operations questions that we can handle later.
All right, let's keep going, and then we'll get back into those operations ones, and I'm sure there'll be more program too.
All right, so hi, I'm Annie Souza. I'm here to talk about the CIT program. I'm the director of that this year. The biggest thing that we need from you right now is encourage your scouts and venturers to apply. If you have a kid who's 14 or 15 and they've been coming to camp for a few years and they love being at camp, we want them to come join us, right? We want them to get that next experience, and that's what it really is for them, is that next experience. The application is due April 15th, and then we will do an interview process with them. We think of that really as being part of the program. It's their chance to kind of experience all of this. For many of them, they've never had a job before. They haven't had that experience. So it's a really cool opportunity for them to get that when it's a little bit lower pressure of a situation. And then during camp, they come and they kind of get this opportunity to be half a camper and half on staff. During the morning, they get to go take merit badges. So they're there for 3 weeks of program, staff week, and 3 weeks of program. And during those program weeks, they get to take 2 merit badges in the morning. So they get that chance to be campers, to earn some badges, to kind of progress as far as being a scout. And then in the afternoon, we spend some time working on trainings with them and getting them into the areas so they can experience what it's like to be on staff at camp. Those trainings are really focused on leadership, customer service, being able to talk to a crowd, and being able to really teach and lead others. It's really, really an incredible opportunity for them to just bring and level up their skills and then bring that back to the troops as well. So it's a really good opportunity for them to earn some more merit badges, spend some more time at camp, and then level up on their own personal goals. It is 4 weeks of program, or 4 weeks at camp, 3 weeks of program, 1 week of staff week, for the price of 1 week at camp. So it's a really, really good opportunity. Please encourage your scouts. Please encourage your venturers to apply if they're in that age range.
Hey, Annie, we have a question from the crowd about the CIT program.
Hit me.
Can scouts who attended different scout camps with their troop in the past be considered for the CIT program this year if it is their troop's first year at Wanocksett?
Yes, absolutely. And honestly, I was a CIT at camp. I was never a camper. So that was my experience there, right? I had been to other camps, but I hadn't been here. I came in as a CIT and I absolutely loved it. So please feel free to join us.
And to piggyback on that, it's not uncommon, and I recommend it, that if you want to be a camper with your troop and be a CIT another week, that's fine. Because if it's the last year to be a full camper, you can still do that the same summer that you are a CIT. I know 1990, I was a camper and I was also a CIT, and I would not have wanted to give up that year as a camper.
One final question. Can campership be applied to the CIT program?
I'll take that one. The answer is yes. However, the program, the campership award is going to go either to the CIT cost or to, if the scout is going to go with your troop to their program week. The unit leader will get an email because it's going to go to you saying that this person got an award. The family will also receive it. If it's going to be used towards the CIT program, just get that dialogue going between myself or Dan Fuller or Dan Fuller, and we'll make sure that the money is appropriately credited on the right spot. So thank you for that question. All right.
All right. Well, we have 2 opportunities for Webelos to come to camp. They're 3-day programs. They're Sunday through Wednesday and Wednesday through Saturday. They're incredible. Jacob Roger will be back again as the Webelos director, and he will be planning for a few weeks prior to that. We're looking for some adults who would like to come to camp as volunteers to help with that. Reach out to Jacob Roger, info@campwanocksett.org. You need to be registered with a unit. And these are a pretty cool way to come to camp for a short window of time as a group of Webelos and to get a taste of the program. We'll be running regular scout camp at the same time the Webelos are there, but we will have piggybacking programs. We are not going to be shutting down the rifle range to be running a separate BB range. We'll have a range in a different area with some different staff. So there'll be 2 programs running, but it will not affect the other programs. We bring additional staff in with additional budget and additional leaders. Pretty cool. So think about spreading the word on Webelos resident camp, both in council and out of council. We have a lot of folks who travel to our Webelos resident program because it's so good. Shout out to Quincy. You guys bring a lot of Weeblos. Thank you.
All right, Danny, you want to talk about our pre-camp meetings?
Yeah, so we're going to have another meeting prior to your arrival. And you can see the dates here. For most of them, they're full 10 days before you arrive. The only one that's not is the week 1 meeting. So the week 1 meeting, we're still in school, so we arrive. The 28th is the meeting. Sorry, pre-camp. The 24th is the meeting for when you arrive on the 28th. So that's the shortest window. But normally it's about 10 days before, the Wednesday, a week and a half before you arrive. And these are important meetings. They'll be on Zoom and lots of information. There'll be a fast-paced 1-hour meeting, but it's really down in the details.
All right, let's talk medical forms. The medical form, most medical form is the same as last year. It's the standard Scouting America medical form. It has been updated on the camp website. There is a cover page. One page kind of explains the different parts and some of the regulations. The other page is it's a quick reference sheet for the folks here on the call, but also for the parents who are looking at their medical form for their scout before they give them to you to make sure things are not missed, right? Things like signatures, dates, things that might be out of date, stuff like that. Make sure that you have the parents take a look at that cover page. I know a lot of units will print out copies and pass them out at your troop meetings. Include that cover page. It's really helpful for our medical staff. As a reminder, scouting forms are good through the end of the 12th month of your physical. So if you got a physical in the early part of July of 2024, that form was good through the end of July 2025. If you are a troop, there's 2 weeks in our season that the month changes, right? Week 1, week 5, both span the 2 different months. As long as your form is good for the beginning of the week, we're good, right? Especially where sometimes doctors' offices won't let you come in until like the next day, 1 year later, or you've got the holiday, the 4th of July, to kind of contend with sometimes too. Make sure that you're submitting only copies to us. There's a New Hampshire regulation that requires that we maintain copies of your medical forms secured for 2 seasons. And we do not have the throughput to be able to make photocopies for your unit. So please make sure you're submitting only photocopies to us. I want to call out, there was a little bit of confusion last year, and we added some more language and maybe made things a little bit more clear on the printed form. The normal scouting form is parts A, B, and C. There is a separate part D, and our council has 2 different camps in 2 different states, and so we have different regulations to follow. And one of the things that we've tried to do is make sure that our medical form is as clear as possible for all of our customers, and people aren't going to the website and grabbing the wrong version of the wrong form. So it's all in one PDF. Part D has 2 different state portions. Part D NH, which is for us here at Camp Wanocksett, it only applies to scouts under the age of 18 who have an EpiPen autoinjector or an inhaler that they have to carry with them. Think of it like doctor's orders on a much larger scale. It's a 1-page form. We recognize that a lot of the Massachusetts pediatricians may want to just print off if a scout has an EpiPen or an inhaler, they likely have a school form that the nurse at school will take and has all the stuff that's on this part D. Unfortunately, the New Hampshire regulation requires very specific questions for that. So if the pediatrician is confused, this is the law. We have to follow the law. So again, that's only for scouts who have inhalers and EpiPens. The other portion, part DMA, is not for us. It's not for Camp Wanocksett. It's for our friends down at Treasure Valley. It's a separate form for a different purpose. And part of that is also an medication administration form that's 2 or 3 pages. That's also for Massachusetts. You do not need to have your families and your pediatricians complete that kind of like last half of the form. If they are having medication administered, they do need to complete Part B, which is part of the standard scouting form that has a doctor's signature that's required, but they don't need to do the much, much longer Part D for the Massachusetts stuff. So review it as you're making photocopies for your unit, for your parents. Maybe consider not giving them Part DMA, which is the last half of the form. we put some big titles at the very top. It's very clearly it's for Treasure Valley, or it's for Camp Wanocksett. So keep an eye out for that. The other stuff about medical forms is you're going to be turning these in. There's actually a typo there. None of the pre-camp meeting. It's 4 weeks out. There's a backdater in the leader's guide, and we'll cover this in a little bit more detail later on. 4 weeks out from your arrival at camp, they should be getting mailed directly to camp. That includes if you are a unit that is coming in the first couple weeks of camp, right? Camp may not be open, but we do have a lot of staff members that are going up, nurses included, to do things like check the mail and kind of dust the cobwebs out and stuff like that. So even if you're a week 1, 2, 3, 4 troop, send your forms to camp and the nurses will get them. On that cover page is that commonly missed items list. Please make sure you're checking things like tetanus shot dates, immunization records. New Hampshire does require a complete immunization record to be sent in for kids. So please make sure you have that. The OTC signature, the over-the-counter medication signature on Part B was also something missed last year. And insurance cards as well. If you have a scout that is exempt from immunizations, there is a process for that. We can provide you the forms. That's again, we have to comply with both Scouting America and the state of New Hampshire. So just reach out to us. We get maybe 1 or 2 of those every year. Jack, before we go on to the next section, anything on med forms that have come in?
Yes, we have a few questions. First one, hard copy medical forms only? Question mark.
Yes.
Yes. We do not have an online medical form system. We've evaluated them, and the cost benefit is just not there for our medical form staff.
Will the nurse accept pediatrician's office signed printout of the annual physical instead of the filled out Part C?
Technically, no. We really need Part C to be filled out. We do recognize that some pediatricians will refuse to fill that form out or will charge extra for insurance. So the official answer from Scouting America is no. We cannot accept that PDF or that printout from the pediatrician. However, if you're running into challenges, as long as it has all the same information, staple it to the form and include parts A and B.
Do adults need medical forms?
Yes.
And our last question, the 4-week lead time on med forms, is that postmarked or anticipated delivery day?
Do your best.
Do your best, get it to camp. Recognize that the Dublin post office is a small town post office. They're great people. They just get a lot of mail between the camps that are in town during the summer. So the sooner you can get it, the better. If you're in a situation where you've got like 1 or 2 people in your troop that you're waiting on forms for, and you've got the other 95%, send that up, and then we can deal with the 1 or 2 later.
Final question. Does Part B require doctor's signature if no regular meds?
No, that's only for a couple other states in the country. Just need the parent's signature for the over-the-counter medications. If there's no medication, if they're taking a prescription med, the doctor does have to sign it.
Looks like we're good on medical questions for now.
All right, cool.
Collins, can you go back to that slide just for a second? We're sending these forms to the camp, Last year, we said it 3 or 4 times, and most people got it, but we still had a couple go to council. Send them to the camp and make sure we try to get them there as close to 4 weeks before you arrive to camp. And copies. The last one is, don't send us copies of people who aren't coming to camp. Every year, someone will send us the full 56 forms that they've collected, but the kids or adults are not coming, and our staff goes through all of them, and we make adjustments to what they're missing, and then we find out that the person's not even coming to camp. So send us the forms for who's coming to camp to the camp.
All right, Danny, want to talk about early bird?
Yeah, so we have a change this year. We have been spending more and more money prior to camp, and we're outlaying serious money, like $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 before the first scout hits the camp. And so we have worked with council to bring the early bird date back earlier in the season. So we're giving you clean notice that we'd love to do the early bird again. It's a pretty good deal, but it's April 15th. Now, if a scout joins the troop after, we can take care of them. If a scout crosses over after, we can take care of them. When I mean take care of them, I mean Andy will get you the early bird price. But if you know you're bringing 11 scouts, get a check from the troop and get it to us by April 15th for 11 scouts so you get the best price. If a scout doesn't come and we need to send you back the money, we will. We're not going to hold a fee or anything, but just early bird, April 15th. Start the process now of figuring out who's going and keep shaking the trees so we get as many scouts at camp. All that being said, we're not having a scout stay home because of money. There's a process for camperships. And then if that doesn't work, there's a process where you reach out to me or Andy and say, we're having a problem. What can we do? Everyone must go to camp. Last year, we made the critical number of scouts. We made budget. We did what we need to do. We want to get people to camp where we want them to have that experience on the Thorndike. Let's do it. So April 15th for early bird. There we go. So,
All right, Danny,
Collins, you take this one.
Okay. So adult leaders, a couple of questions have come through the chat already, and we'll mark those as answered. Every troop gets 2 adults for free, obviously for safeguarding youth purposes. There's another adult included for free based on the number of scouts that you bring. So once you cross that 20 threshold, you get a third. Cross 30, you get 4. Extra adults are $200 for the week. That covers really just the cost of the food. You get to use the facility, you get to participate, have the time of your life. We can combine unit leader adults. So if you've got like an adult coming in Sunday through Wednesday, and then you're tagging out and you're going home, and someone else is coming in Wednesday and staying through Saturday, we consider that one adult for financial purposes. My suggestion to all of you would be don't try to calculate the number of adults that are coming on your own and then submit payment. We will figure that out during the pre-camp check-in process ahead of time financially. We always round in your favor. Again, it's really just covering the cost of the food. And if you have any extra adults that are kind of like a la carte one meal, it's $15 for the meal. Something that's new this year that we're going to be rolling out to everybody. It's not ready tonight, but it will be ready in about a week or so, is a new unit portal. So we're going to be providing you access to the system that we've actually been using since 2014. Jim Ganley has been developing for the last couple of months a publicly facing portal for all of you. We'll send you the access credentials to that. As of today, it's going to have access for you to look at your financials. You'll be able to see the camperships that are awarded and that have been applied to your unit as well. And it is the place that you'll be able to find your merit badge roster and your unit roster. And those are things that you can change, just like in previous years, up until the Sunday before you, or the Saturday night before you arrive at camp. We'll send that access link out to everybody. And if there's other people in your unit that need it, you can let us know and we can provide them with a unique link as well. We hope to have some more features in the future, basically talking to some other Scoutmasters, some things that they'd like to be able to see kind of from operations perspective. And the nice thing is this is all managed in-house. And so we're able to give you guys new features without increasing any costs to you folks. Danny, food service?
Yeah, so we have the same food service back. This will be their 28th year with us, and we're excited. We had some great chow last year. We're looking to meet with them this spring to enhance the program even more. But 17 meals in the dining hall, there are certain restrictions that your scouts might have, and we want to make sure that those are noted on the medical form. And then prior to camp, we'll put you in contact with the chef if you want to talk to the chef, or mom or dad wants to talk to the chef. We'll have a protocol in the dining hall where we serve the main meal, family style, and then the window will open for all those dietary restrictions. And we want to make sure we're super safe. And so we're revisiting the entire process to see what we can do to make it smoother and to continue to be safe, and to make sure that, we just need to keep those scouts with dietary restrictions and allergies safe.
One thing that Danny mentioned earlier, I just want to reiterate because we're talking about it right now, right? The food service is seasonally contracted for us. So I'm sure some of your parents have questions about restrictions. Send them our way right now. Send them to info@campwanocksett.org, and we can get those questions answered if you have any concerns about stuff. But then once camp opens up, we can get you connected with the chef who's on site.
But also you can answer the question. We have a gluten-free, vegetarian, vegan, peanut, all those, every week we have scouts and adults and staff members with all of those. As the father of a 3-year vegetarian, we have plenty of ways to get the meals and get the nutrition.
Danny mentioned camperships earlier. We have a great campership program supplied by the council, and we don't want to leave a scout home. The application is open. It's open to anybody coming to camp, not just anybody from Heart of New England Council. So talk with your families. If there's a financial need, have them apply. You can apply for them. The submission date is March 15th. Much like the early bird, we moved up 15 days. We moved the campership up 15 days so we can still do the processing we have to do on our end, and the campership community needs to do on their end. A notification will go out to the primary unit leader contact that we have on the reservation, as well as to the family, so they know, there's no overpayment and back and forth. And so if that primary contact for the unit leader is not correct in that email that we sent out earlier tonight, just let us know and we'll make sure the change happens. If you get an answer on a campership, just like Danny said earlier, and it's not going to allow a scout to come to camp, don't not send the scout to camp. Talk to us, shoot us an email, give us a call at camp, and we will make sure the scout is able to figure out a way to get to camp. Dan, you want to talk about the online store?
Yeah, absolutely. So in addition to the physical trading post that we have at camp, that has the t-shirts, sweatshirts, candy, soda, all of the things that we know and love, we also have an online store. So the link is right there up screen, shop.campwanocksett.org. And this is really unique in most of our products are produced on demand and they're shipped right to your house with free shipping. So we at camp never touch it. You place the order, it gets produced, it gets sent right to you. And a lot of times these are much more custom items some of which you see on screen, options that you can't necessarily get in store. In addition to the online store offerings, coming closer towards summer camp season, the care packages will also go live, where you can place an order for a care package. We'll have different options up. Fill out your camper's information as well as a little note if you choose. And then once that gets purchased, it'll get printed out at camp, placed in the unit's mailbox, and then the camper can then redeem that in the trading post for physical goods. A lot of those include drinks, candy, shirt, items of that nature. So.
And Dan, while we're on the topic, do you want to talk about photos and pizzas and stuff like that and prices?
Absolutely. So photos are a great Wanocksett tradition. Sundays or early week, depending on the weather, we'll take unit photos that you are able to purchase. So this year, the price will be $17. We are also in the process of determining a price still, but we will be offering digital photos as well for the unit to purchase. It'll be a one-time purchase, so the parents don't have to pay for the digital. That pricing has not been finalized yet. Myself and the rest of the business office are still working on that, but that will be an option in addition to the hard photos that we've always done. And then as far as pizzas go, cheese pizzas will be $17. Pepperoni and vegetarian are $18. For anyone who doesn't know, Friday night after the campfire, after the regular meal, units have the option of ordering pizzas that we make in-house. Our staff does it, hand-tossed dough, and that gets delivered to your campsite right after the campfire to have a little bit of fellowship and camaraderie amongst yourselves.
And the best part is the proceeds go to pay for our different events for the staff. We do a Chinese night where we get Chinese food, watch a movie. Last year, actually, we did trivia in Chinese food. We go on a motor coach to the beach towards the end of the year on a Saturday with the entire staff. We do a bowling night. The last night we're in camp together. We do an opening banquet with the entire staff where we arrive at camp and that's just the senior staff, where we go out to dinner. And we do a Kimball's night, Thursday of staff week. Don't tell the staff being hired. We go down to Kimball's in our Class A uniforms, about 80 staff and CITs, and we get ice cream. And it's quite a sight to see all of them in the parking lot. And it's all paid for with our pizza fund. And so thank you very much.
And before we move on to the last part of the webinar tonight, Jack, what do we got for operations questions?
Of course. First one off, do you need a check or cash for pizza/photo, or is Venmo an option?
Uh, Venmo is not an option. The camp does not have a Venmo account. We can do check or cash, but we can also process credit cards. So if you have a card that needs to get run, we can certainly do any of those.
A question about med forms. Do day-only adults require full med forms?
If you're there for just the day, you need parts A and B, but you can't do anything fun. You can't go for a swim in the lake. You can't really go do anything fun like shoot a gun or go climb up the climbing tower. If you're just there for a day portion, um, once you pass 72 hours, you need it. You can't stay in camp.
Danny, you mentioned with the adjusted early bird fee about incorporating new scouts. Does new scouts mean crossovers or something else?
No, absolutely. If someone joins the troop or someone crosses over, we're going to honor the early bird. We're not looking to squeeze people. We just need to get checks rolling our way for April 15th for the critical mass of the scouts in the troop. And if other people jump on and we can squeeze them in, we can do that.
And finally, going back to CIT financing, does the $595 fee include your week with your troop?
It does not. That's your week. This includes the time that you're working for us. When you're with the troop, having the full Wanocksett experience. But folks, just remember, you're getting 4 weeks of your scout or son or daughter at Wanocksett being fed and monitored by 13 professional educators and living on the shores of the Thorndike, $1 million lake, and being fed great food and not at home with you. And they're learning and developing skills. It is quite a deal. 4 weeks, $595.
That's all from my end.
Andy, I think you said it, but just to make sure, can we do that talk we do about how the troop sends one payment? Did we do that already?
No, we're going to be doing it in a few slides.
All right, very good. Because that
Yep.
is always one that every year. Sometimes I see you in your office and you have a big smile when you get sent a stack of checks.
Sure thing. So let's continue down the talk about check-in and some of the logistics for the camp coordinators on the call, right? We have a opportunity for you after your pre-camp meeting, after that 10-day out meeting, we will send you a link to sign up on either my calendar or Dan Fuller's calendar to do a virtual check-in. And what we'll do is it's usually like a 10-15 minute Zoom call. You can pick, the time at your leisure. And you can invite whomever you'd like. You can bring your treasurer, you can bring your medical form person, and we'll do a full check-in. We'll do all the financial check-in. We'll make sure the roster is all set, med forms are submitted. We'll make sure any paperwork needs to get buttoned up, gets buttoned up. If there's questions about payments, we have, it's an opportunity for us to figure everything out before you get to camp. It really, 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 it helps out you guys on Sunday because you get to just come to the office and say, hey, we're here. No shows. Here's your program packet, and we're on the way. It also helps us out because the Sunday machine is complicated. The more and more units that we get, and the more customers we have, which is excellent. But we want to make your check-in as smooth as possible. So those signups will open up. Keep an eye out for the link that we send out. Some key dates to remember. We've gone over a bunch of these already, right? The campership deadline is March 15th. The forms on the website. The CIT application, April 15th, Annie mentioned, also on the website. Send that out to your scouts tonight. Early bird payment. We missed one. My bad. April 15th for the early bird payment. We start moving all the stuff from the Rutland office to the Dublin office in mid-June. So anything before June 14th, you can mail to Rutland, except your medical forms. Those always go to camp. Any sort of payments, those go to Rutland. After that, send it to Dublin. Don't send it to Rutland because everything's been boxed up and we want to get it up to Wanocksett. Some kind of backdaters, and these are all listed in the leader's guide for you on 2 different pages. So make sure you use this as a checklist. 30 days out from your arrival, you should be making sure that everyone in your troop that's coming to camp is registered in Scouting America, kids and adults. That is a requirement. We're going to be asking you at check-in to provide us a My.Scouting roster that shows everyone is registered. The other thing that you need to make sure that has been submitted is the New Hampshire DCYF third-party checks. These only apply to people who currently live in New Hampshire as a resident of New Hampshire or people who have lived in New Hampshire in the last 7 years. There's more details about this form at the backside of our leaders guide. It is an annual process. This is a New Hampshire state regulation. It's nothing that we can really control. Basically, it's an extra bound background check that the state of New Hampshire requires. If there's questions on that, my suggestion to you would be don't wait, right? Get those processing now if you know if an adult's definitely going to camp. Again, it can get mailed to camp. The ranger will put it in the pile for us to grab when we go grab operation stuff. Don't delay on that. It takes 3 to 5 weeks sometimes for the folks in Concord to process those forms. 4 weeks out, get those med forms into camp, mail them to camp, put a label on the inside, like a cover page, just says what troop you are and what week you're coming. 10 days out, you've got that pre-camp meeting that Danny talked about. You can sign up for your pre-camp check-in with us virtually, and then do that pre-camp check-in somewhere between, 7 and 3 days before you get to camp. When you get to camp, make sure everyone's here, make sure there's no no-shows. Make sure, and we'll give you all of this information when you do your virtual check-in. Like we'll give you the checklist of stuff that you should pull together and bring with you to camp. Things like financials that are signed, reservation deposits being rolled over, a balance of camp fees. If you're doing paper versions of your unit roster and your merit badges, like bring those. If you've signed up online, just let us know that those are all set. There's no changes. Like I said, your MyDOT scouting roster needs to be there. It has to have everyone listed. So if you've got an adult coming, make sure they're on that roster, right? We all know how busy registrars can be. Everyone does take vacations, during their work during the year. So, get those adults on your roster, get those kids transferred over from your packs that you're crossing over, and get them onto those MyDOT scouting rosters. The DCYF checks should get sent directly to camp from the folks in Concord. If they get sent to your place, just bring your hard copy that you received back from the state. And then if you want to order photos, let us know that on Sunday as well, and Dan can get that order in. A couple of things. This is one of the things Danny mentioned earlier. When you're dealing with payments, right, there should really be one person in your unit who is the designated camp coordinator. In theory, it is the person that is the contact that we have in our system. If it's not that person, and oftentimes, sometimes this happens where a scoutmaster is the person on the reservation, they're getting all the information about camp, and then come to find out that scoutmaster just can't come to camp. You might want to think about swapping that adult name over to the person who's actually going to be coming to camp. That way they get some of the email updates we get throughout the year. That should be the person that's helping coordinate the financials of camp. And they're going to be submitting one check, or they're going to be submitting checks from the troop, right? So in an ideal situation, you've got 25 scouts coming to camp. Those 25 families are going to send the troop a payment for their week at camp. And the troop is then going to write one check from the troop to the council. You don't want to have every family sending in the check to council. It just makes the folks down in Rutland a little crazy when it comes time to process all the early bird payments. If there is a refund, and we really try our best to make sure that we're crediting you guys as best as possible. The refunds go back to the unit, right? So sometimes what will happen is you've got those 25 scouts. They pay their early bird payment. They pay it to the troop pays the council. And then, a month goes by and you find out that one of the scouts can't go to camp. And meanwhile, another scout who didn't sign up earlier, didn't pay, does want to go to camp. On our end, you've paid for 25, right? And you swapped out a name, and that's perfectly fine. We don't need to worry about doing a refund and then having you pay us again. And so that's one of the reasons we do the pre-camp financial check-in, to make sure that we're kind of like shaking the trees and making sure that everything is lining up the way it needs to financially, and we're not having to do any sort of back and forth with credit. At the back of the leader's guide, there's a one-page document that you can print out. If you could include that with any checks you mail in, that would be really helpful. That just helps us track what the payment is for, and what unit it needs to be credited towards. Sometimes the unit will include adults, and sometimes there's no information, and there's a scratching of a head down in Rutland, like, well, how many kids is this for? Because they've got to put in the number of kids. So if you can include that with the payments you send in, that would be really helpful. We mentioned the June 15th deadline earlier, right? Send everything except your medical forms to the service center, send your payments to the service center. Any sort of like anything that comes in financially should go to the service center up until June 15th. After that, it goes up to Dublin. Your med forms, no matter what date, go to Dublin. Don't send them to Rutland. Don't send them to Rutland. Don't send them to Rutland. Send them to Dublin. Um, the unit roster, you can do a couple different things. We've got a couple different questions I see in the chat. We'll talk about that right now. Your unit roster and your merit badge signups can be done in really whatever way you'd like. We're very flexible. At Camp Wanocksett, no scout will be turned away from a badge. We will find a way to run that. That's just one of the things that we pride ourselves on. You can submit you literally could bring on Sunday a paper copy of a roster and a paper copy of your merit badge signups. The easier thing to do for many folks, because it's a digital age and a lot of you like to deal with forms online, you can fill out a roster online, and that will be made available to you through your unit's portal. And we can also share the document with you. If you need somebody else in the troop to have access to that, we can do that. And you can make those changes in real time, and that will help, eliminate any sort of like, we need a credit for this kid, we've added this kid, stuff like that. You can mark off when adults are coming to camp, what days. And again, those kind of changes can be made up until the night before you arrive at camp electronically. If you prefer a different system, let us know, and we're happy to accommodate however, is easiest for your unit. Make sure you go to that pre-camp meeting that Danny mentioned. And then I think let's pause there because I see a whole bunch of questions. Jack, let's rapid fire these.
Do returning adults need a new DCYF check?
Yes.
Yes.
A question about CIT payment. When is that due?
When they get to camp.
Will there be an orientation/tour when we arrive?
If you want one, absolutely. Some troops, they do their own because they return and they have scouts who show other scouts around. But if you're a new group and you would like to have a senior staff member show you the camp, absolutely.
Is there Wi-Fi to allow adults to work at camp?
Yeah, the boathouse. During the day, we need to use it for programming some of the time, but for a good portion, the adults can use the boathouse, and we'll get you a Wi-Fi that's for adults only, so you can still work from camp. It's a great week.
Is there a way to pay online, or does it have to be paper check through snail mail?
We are not able to take online payments for units. It does have to be a physical check. If there's a scout in your unit who is not coming the same week or is coming for an additional week, they can do Provo online, individual Provo payments. But as for the unit, there is not an online payment option.
What time can a trailer be dropped in a site?
Typically an hour before you arrive.
Can you give a very brief New Hampshire DCYF summary?
Sure. The form is annual. It's an extra background check. It only applies to people who are current New Hampshire state residents or former New Hampshire residents in the last 7 years. It is a snail mail form that needs to be notarized and sent to Concord. There is a cover page that explains the steps in detail. And if there's any questions, please email me.
Do venturers over the age of 18 but under the age of 21 pay the youth fee or adult fee?
If they are an adult program participant between the ages of 18 and 21 and they're in a venturing crew, they would be considered a participant and they would pay the camper fee. If they are over the age of 18 and they're an adult and they're coming with their troop, then they pay the adult fee. And they're not doing the program though if they're in that boat. They're an
In a
adult.
unit, oh my bad. Can a unit arrive together/depart in, say, a school bus with a vehicle towing trailer?
Absolutely. We can accommodate all that. And at your pre-camp meeting, we can work with you on how you arrive. And if you arrive a little bit early or whatever we can do to make it smooth so that you get to that campsite. And as we get to that pre-camp meeting, we'll be talking new troops. I typically like to invite you to come early before the camp opens so we can get you in and get you through the machine.
A question about adult meal per cost per meal. Is it 15 now instead of 10?
Yes,
Yes.
the a la carte meal price went up, so it's now $15.
That should be all questions for operations for now.
Jack, there was one about fire size. Did you skip that one? Groton
Oh,
always
right. What is
fire.
the fire height limit for this year?
It's based on the amount of precipitation in the 60 days prior to your arrival. So we use a different mathematical equation with the ranger, a retired firefighter, along with the forester and fire warden Brian Martin.
I see
One
one
final
too, Jack, about blue cards, and if they're online, digital, or only hard copies. We do hard copies. The base of Monadnock, there's not Wi-Fi in all the program areas for our area directors to mark off the blue cards that way. So we do hard copies. We do get them back to your troop on Friday evening after the campfire. Our area directors are available on Saturday to answer any questions or if there's anything that you think might be wrong. And we also keep a hard copy of our attendance roster and we scan it and we can answer questions in the off season. So if a kid loses a blue card, we can always recreate it.
And we provide the blue cards.
Jumping on that too, if a scout has a badge that they started last year and have a partial, or if they did it at a different camp, bring the partials. If we can get them done, we will get them done.
A quick question. How is attendance looking for this year? Are we continuing the trend of growing?
Yeah, so the last 2 years were some of our biggest years ever. Last year was a little bit less than the year before, but we right now only have space weeks. Collins 157.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on out there, but we have received 10 new troops since November. And we're talking from Pennsylvania to Maine. And we are super excited. And we retained almost all of our troops from last year. So troops are smaller, that is true, but the number of troops is up. And so we've done a really good job of trying to keep the weeks pretty even. But if you have friends, we still have space 157. What
All
else,
right.
Chat Master? We're coming
Let's go
up
through the
on.
last couple slides and then we'll go back to any questions. So kind of, I don't say last call, but anything that's burning in your mind, get it into the Q&A. That way Jack can kind of queue it up in the chat. A couple more things. You should share our social media with your scouts. Jack's already been starting to pump out some great content for the season. There's also, a bunch of stuff up there from previous seasons, some great photos you can use for slideshows to help promote. The website is being updated with a whole bunch of stuff over the next couple of weeks. Leaders Guide's already up, prices are up, dates are up. We'll have more of that stuff up there. Also, designate a youth in your troop to really rally all the scouts and coming to camp, right? Someone who's been to camp for 2, 3, 4 years. Get them really hyping it up. Get them to sell camp. It's great youth leadership experience.
All right, Chat Master, I'm seeing a few. I'm going to jump right in there. We love mismatched silverware. So if you're cleaning out grandma's kitchen, we'll take all the old flatware that's mismatched because somehow, I don't know if the scouts eat it or what, but we lose pieces. Sibling discounts, we do not do. If there's a challenge with finances, let us know, but we don't do a sibling discount. We do not provide you with a full... Collins, there's a question, O'Connell, there's a question about swim test results. So we do a swim test for everyone when they arrive at camp, but I don't think we produce a report typically.
We don't. There is a form that Scouting America has. One of the reasons we don't typically do anything about that is many of our units are coming from Massachusetts, and there is a law in Massachusetts about an organized camp going to a waterfront in Massachusetts and having to do a swim check on that body of water. So there's a little bit of liability there. We have had requests in the past, especially for like Sea Base or National Jamboree, and those types of things we can help accommodate. If you do need a list of swim credentials, we can also help provide that, but we typically try to steer away from it.
The question about planning activities for venturing. So we can help custom create what you're looking for your adventure, your venturers. And that's through Nick O'Connell. And prior to your camp arrival, what are you looking for? What type of activities? High adventure discounts. I'm not sure what that is. Kevin, give me a little bit more in the chat.
We don't offer one. A couple camps in New England do offer a discount if you're going to a high adventure base, but we do not offer one.
Good
We
catch,
have a
Collins.
question about what are we looking for service project needs for this year?
We're looking to build another 30 picnic tables. We're looking for folks to donate both time and the wood. And if you donate the wood, your troop gets their name, or if you donate it, you get your name routed on the side of it. We don't do the top anymore because it holds the water and causes rot, but we've mastered a way of doing it on the 2x6 on the end. So we're looking to completely overhaul our picnic table fleet with 30 more. But we really want you to come to camp, have a good time, be the leadership for the troop, the adult leadership, and enjoy camp. Anything else,
That's all
folks?
for all of our questions.
You guys folks were great tonight. An hour and 5 minutes. We're going to get a copy of this and it's going to get posted. Collins, is it to YouTube?
Yeah, we'll get this video posted to both YouTube and Facebook in the coming days. Feel free to share it with anyone in your unit. Really, the information, as you've seen, is geared towards adults going to camp. But you can also trim out some parts about the new program that Nick talked about. If there's any questions, you see all of our emails up there. I do want to call out info@campwanocksett.org. It's the first email address on the slide there. That email goes to everyone on this call. So if you send an email to info, one of us will get it. Keep in mind, like Danny said, we're a fleet of teachers. We're in the classroom full time right now. We'll switch into camp mode when we get out of the classroom. So in the next few months, we will get back to you. It just may not be right away. But email info@campwanocksett.org, or you can email one of us individually if there's a specific question about a specific thing. Any last questions, Jack?
Will there be any work party weekends for troops to participate in coming up?
Yeah,
Prepare camp for the season.
there's opportunities for service. I know that there's going to be a Beaver Day run by the Properties Committee sometime in, I think, May, late April, early May. Keep an eye on the camp Facebook page. A lot of the stuff that gets put out there is not just from summer camp, but also from properties and the alumni group, stuff like that. And I think the last question that I just saw come in, when are merit badge assignments due? Nick, you want to talk about our philosophy again?
Yeah, so for merit badges, there is no due date. You can change them all the way up until the midnight you come before camp. So in the camp manager portal that Andy was talking about, you can feel free to swap those badges around. Our philosophy with merit badges is every scout gets the merit badges that they want to take. If we have to move them from third period to first period for class sizes reasons, we will do that. But every scout gets all the badges that they want to have.
And if a kid doesn't pass a swim test, we move them around.
Yep.
If they decide they get to camp and they don't want to do cooking, they want to do camping, we can move them around. No big deal. I don't see any more questions. Any more parting words, Danny?
Yeah, a couple things. We really would love for your CITs to apply. Annie, I'm not sure. Did you mention the number that we already have?
Last I knew we had 15 already.
And Annie, what year were you a CIT?
2013.
Annie is a physics teacher at the Montechusett Regional Vocational. She's incredible. And the CITs live just below the director's cabin. So my wife and I are on staff, so we get to keep an eye on them at night. And Annie's right across the field, 100 yards away. It's a great opportunity for them to have a bit of freedom and a lot of fun. And that staff week is a real week of work. And then once this camp is set up, they're earning badges, having fun and being on staff, but still being campers. So I can't say enough about that. Let's get you out of here. Don't leave any scouts at home because of money, both in council and out of council. Every scout will get their first choice of merit badges. And as we get closer to camp, let us know what you need to make it happen. The reason we have 129 troops is because of this group of senior staff and a group of area directors that you'll all meet soon. Along with the 64 paid staff, it's an incredible group. Thank you for choosing Wanocksett, and we will see you soon as the ice clears on the Thorndike. Be safe and be well.